Hey there, comic friends! I'm Travis. Time for another edition of Monster Comic Reviews, where I talk about a monstrous amount of superhero books. Not really, but, you know, I don't know what to change the title to anymore. Anyway, let's talk some books. This is books for the final week of October 29th-ish of 2014. Gonna jump right into books. Let's talk Batman Eternal. This is issue number 30. We basically get to see all the stuff that we already know happens if you read Arkham Manor, right? You know, basically you see the bad stuff that happens to Arkham in this issue. One of the things I want to bring up is, you know, there's some cool scenes in here of buildings falling in and stuff like that, which is great. Finally we get the Spectre to bust all out and go all bad mamma jamba and just pretty much, you know, cleans house of the stuff that was going on in Arkham. Seems to just take care of it. I should let the page open. My first thing is, I got an issue with this costume. Why change the Spectre's costume? Why add all these extra straps and crap? What the hell is that about? The Spectre has always been one of those costumes. It's just a classic. It's incredibly simple. His gray skin, his green gloves, his, you know, green trousers and boots and his big cloak, right? That's it. Simple. Don't need to have a bunch of other trappings. Nothing about that costume adds anything of value to the character whatsoever. It doesn't tell us anything. It doesn't describe anything. It does nothing. So quit changing the costumes and adding random crap to him for no good reason. Or give me a reason why he's got strappings on him and whatnot. He's basically an embodiment of the god of wrath. I don't get it, and I find it irritating. I found it irritating in this issue. Otherwise, not a whole lot happens in this issue, really. Clearly, there's some other people, you know, pushing some buttons in the background, because you got Joker's daughter, who is been armed up with with some stuff, and she's going to be a further problem. But very little happens in this other than the stuff. Basically, Arkham goes down, and that's really what happens in this issue. I hear there's going to be a second run of this book. It takes a break in March, and then it's going to start back up again or something like that. Boy, I don't know. I mean, I'm getting a kick out of the whole Batman, you know, weekly kind of thing. It's just kind of fun for the weekly romp. Having one of those is kind of cool. I don't know that I'm going to do it again, though. Not if it's going to continue to be messed up by other titles. You know, other titles are going to spoil its plot lines or that sort of thing. That, to me, that's kind of disappointing. Okay issue, but nothing really special, nothing really grabbed me in it in particular, other than the Spectre stuff. We finally get the Spectre. You know, the Spectre comes across as a complete and utter badass. He mashes everything. But, yeah. Other than that, yeah, whatever. Sensation Comics featuring Wonder Woman. This is issue number 3. I've actually dropped this book coming up here in a few issues. I won't be getting anymore. Haven't been really that impressed with most of the Wonder Woman stories in this. I like the first Wonder Woman story that's in this one, Bullets and Braces. Wonder Woman is portrayed as being kind of a rock star. I like the art. I like the style of art and whatnot. It's kind of cool. I don't know, and this purely because I'm a guy. I appreciate the story, this first story, but at the same time, well, maybe we need it. Maybe we need the story. Maybe we need Wonder Woman basically, saying, as a woman, you don't touch me unless I ask to be touched. You don't own me. I don't dress for you. I dress for myself. I guess those are all really good messages. I guess for me personally, I understand all those messages, or feel like I understand those messages. I tend to portray those messages. Certainly I pass it on to my children. So to some degree, the story was like, on the nose, duh, as far as the messages that she brings. I mean, I like the story. I would just like to have seen something else happen too. So I like the message. There's a message in the first story, but at the same time, I don't want the stories to all be purely about the message, and that's largely what it felt like. That it was largely about that. Second story in here was cute. I don't really particularly care for the art. It's kind of a chibe art in that the heads are really big and the bodies are really small on the characters. Kind of an amusing little story of Wonder Woman being tasked with dealing with Catwoman, which is ridiculous in a sense. Once again, we're farming Batman villains, for Wonder Woman, when Wonder Woman really does have her own pantheon of villains. Why aren't we seeing those? Have yet to see Cheetah, have yet to see Psycho Pirate. Some of the other people that seems to me that she deals with a lot more. I don't see that. I think that's unfortunate. The final story in this was by Gilbert Hernandez. It's extremely old school. I think it kind of plays on some of the old school feminism or lack thereof in some sense. It's kind of in this. It feels very 1950s, but I know they're playing with us while it has that 1950s kind of feel to it. I actually really enjoyed it. The unfortunate thing is this is actually, the story doesn't get finished in this issue. It actually is to be continued. So hopefully I get the next one because I kind of want to read that. But I was hoping that Sensation Comics was going to be my replacement for the Wonder Woman book that I know is going to dramatically change after this week. But I don't know that it has really. And I don't feel like this issue felt more unique, more had more energy, had more everything that I thought the book should have from the very beginning, as far as comparing it to the Batman digital first book that's been out and the Superman digital first book that's been out. I felt like Wonder Woman's was weaker, which is unfortunate because I think Wonder Woman's actually a stronger character to such a large degree. But this was the first issue to me that felt like it was trying to grab a hold of all the cool elements of those other books, taking kind of unique art, unique creators, and spinning a unique tale. And we're kind of starting to get that with some of these, so that's kind of cool. If the next issue is great and has good stuff in it, maybe I'll put it back on my poll. But I want it to be successful. I just, until this issue hasn't been hitting the right kind of feel that I want it to have, I guess. One of the independent superhero books, of which there are so few, Sundowners. And of course this could be questionable on whether or not it should be in the superheroes, should be in the independent books. But it has to do with superheroes, or people who portray themselves as superheroes. I absolutely love this cover. It's just freaky. I love the coloring and whatnot. Really interesting story. I was kind of concerned with the last issue, not knowing whether or not these people are crazy. Does that matter to me in the story, as far as a feeling where, again, a sense of where it's going? Sometimes I read a comic and I love the wonder of not knowing what's going to happen and just kind of, going with it and just being comfortable with flowing along. This book, for some reason, had more high anxiety for me as far as not knowing where it was going or what the voice was, the direction kind of a thing. Not to say it was meandering or meaningless, just that I was just really unsure of these characters. Where did they really stand? And I felt like I needed to have some sense of where they stood so I could then have a sense of their bewilderment or loss, whatever. For some reason, in this issue, I get it. We kind of land on our four characters again. This is Crotasic, I think is what her name is, something along those lines. A mix between Crow and Dominatrix. We get a good sense of her, of this, what she's doing. She's trying to investigate this person that she thinks is odd, and maybe has some answers for her about what happened to the guy that they know was kidnapped by these people in a few issues ago. We get to see her anxieties and some of the problems that she has. We get to see just how kind of used up and somewhat despicable the psychologist is that's doing this group setting to try and help these would-be Sundowners, these would-be superheroes out. We get to see another slice of Joe Citizen's life and how messed up things are there. Yeah, and we get some more of everything that's going on. We get a larger chunk of a greater story in this. I'm now really excited for it, really curious about it. It just kind of it has some really interesting stuff going on. These people, their backgrounds and histories are starting to come and haunt them in certain ways. Our character in here who commits sin to build up a bank so she can use her superpowers is being attacked by an ex. That ex is implying in some sense that maybe he's godly or angelic, or I don't know, he's just as crazy as she is if she's crazy, if she doesn't really have superpowers. Or maybe he's not crazy. Well, he behaves crazy in this. He behaves like a stalker ex-boyfriend. But maybe there's some legitimacy to his claims too. Because maybe she's legitimate in having her powers that she has. Yeah, there's some downward spirals going on here. Our guy that was kidnapped, we get back to him. We see some somewhat miracle type things happen with him. This place that he's in, it seems to be kind of a cult or a worshiping place. Don't know what that's going to be about. It looks to be yet another self-help kind of thing, but just on a grander, more holy roller kind of a scale, which is also pretty cool. But yeah, really enjoying the book. I don't hear many people talking about it. I think David Rakunis is the only other person I know that's actually getting and reading it. But I've been enjoying it. It has the art has an old school feel to it, and just kind of a cool pulp, potential noir or EC style kind of a art to it. I like the storytelling, the different shots we get, the close-ups of eyes and that sort of thing, the expressions, the movements that are going on, all really good as far as that goes. I'm intrigued and excited to be reading it again, so that's very good. Next up is Swamp Thing. This is annual number 3. We finally get to see the kind of final tale of I can't remember her name. Capucine, I guess is how you say her name. Not sure how you even say her name. She's reached her 1,000 years and is at the end, she's asked a few favors of Alec Holland's Swamp Thing. We get to see those favors come to fruition. There's some other kind of side stories in here. Nothing critical that you need for the actual Swamp Thing tale, other than to find out what happens to her, because this is the end of her in the storyline. It plays on some reoccurring themes with Swamp Thing giving up his body to somebody else, kind of stuff, which that's potentially becoming old hat. Some of the art in here is really good. I really thought that it was a sweet story. The demon is in this, Etriget, which is kind of cool. Got some old, Paquian art here. Did his one page. He did most of the art for the first of the New 52 run of Swamp Thing. His art is gorgeous. So there's a really great page in there. I think it has kind of a sweet ending. It's a nice send-off of the character, and I think deservingly so. Something good and happy ultimately ends up happening for somebody in the book, which is great. Don't seem to get a lot of that. Really curious to see where the book goes forward from here. Like I said, the annual, not critical to get, but I think it adds to the full fleshing out of some of that story, and so was good for that. And finally, this time around, is Wonder Woman issue number 35. I actually own 2 copies of this. Here's my other copy, because I got the one that I get in my comic book order. I got it on, my comics got delayed horrifically, so I actually didn't get this until Monday. But I went out last Wednesday to the local chain store and bought a copy, because I wanted to read it right now. I wasn't patient enough to wait for it. So I have 2 copies. It's the end. It's the end of the Brian Arezzo, Cliff Chang, and Wilson. I can't remember his first name all of a sudden. Matthew Wilson. It's their end of this beautiful 35, technically I think 37 issues of an incredible run of comics. Not just Wonder Woman, comics. And this issue ended very well. It was so incredibly strong. It highlighted all the wonderful things about Wonder Woman. The fact that she, she is beautiful. She is well poised. She is graceful. She's strong. She's compassionate. She's wise. She's considerate. She's all of these things, and it all just kind of in this issue sums it all up. Tells a great superhero story in kind of a Greek format in the way that this ends, the story that it's told and whatnot. I really want it to continue. I find all the secondary characters interesting and intriguing to this day. It was just great. A few more twists and turns right towards the end, right up to the end that I didn't really see coming, that I found surprising. I just love this tale that they weaved. It is a great book. If you question whether or not you should be reading it, yes, you should. Go pick up all the trades because they're going to be incredible. If they ever choose to make some massive omnibus and try and squeeze all of these issues into one thing, I'm positive I will be getting it. Chances are very good that I don't own any of the trades yet, but chances are very good that I will start picking up these trades. So I have something sitting on my shelf that I can just pull out easily and look at and read whenever I want to. Just amazing story. I'm fairly sure it's going to go down on my list of comic runs that I got to experience in single issues as one of the strongest that I've read. Period. Just great stuff. Great characters, great portrayals. I don't know. Can't say enough good stuff about it without wrecking something or whatever. But just brilliant stuff. And that is it for superhero comics this week. I will catch you next week with more books. Have a great one, everybody.